So,
Yeah,
yeah.
we talked about the learning, like having it here, but we have like a full docket for the year. Like, do we add another one in, or do we bump a topic, or do we push it to next year? But yeah, once we get into planning the rest of the learning togethers, we'll find a way to get it in there.
Yeah,
It'll
I think
put
that's
a
really
little more
important.
work on
Sexual
the,
identity
yeah.
is a big
It'll
part
put
of being an
a
adult
little
for a
bit
lot of
of
people.
pressure on that group because how long is it now? Like an hour and a half or something? So to condense it down will take a bit of work, but it'll be a really
Yeah,
interesting topic though.
probably warrants more than
Yeah.
30 minutes actually, but
Yeah.
then so does everything else we kind of
Yeah.
talk about, right? Yeah.
Yeah, because this is really just highlighting the research and what they say, and then what the people we support have said. But the big second part we hope of this is how do we incorporate it into everything we do here at Connect,
Yeah.
and that's where I'll be leaning into some people, to help with that. So yeah, it's exciting. It's a cool topic, and everybody, as you said, Carly, like it's a big topic, and people want to talk about it. So let's do it.
Well, good luck tomorrow, Adam.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Knock it out of the park, guy.
Yeah.
Jamie will be there cheering me on.
I'll be there. Yeah.
No, I won't be there. Sorry,
Rock
Adam.
it. You're gonna rock
Sorry.
it. You do.
Well,
Yeah.
you know what
That's
they
what
say
you
when
do.
you're nervous in front of a crowd, right?
Just naked. Everyone's naked.
Jamie, your face might go red if I'm staring at you.
I'll be making faces at you from the back of the room. What are you talking about?
I'm muting myself right now.
Yeah, this is being recorded.
All right. Couple more minutes to get people to jump in.
Yeah.
That's the one I was looking for. The boardroom for Connect Partners to join us. It's like half our group today. There they are.
Kim, you look lonely in there today. She's the only one in there. It's a big room.
I am.
Carly ditched her.
Yeah.
Well, we didn't want a whole bunch of like other noise on
Yeah.
on the
No,
mic. I'd happily be in that room.
Yeah.
I was hoping more people were going to join, but one big room and just Kim.
And is Owen here yet?
Oh, look, Ray's gonna join me. I'm not lonely anymore.
Hi everyone, yeah, Owen is coming.
There
Oh,
he
there
is.
he is.
There he is. I say we can't
Good
start
morning.
without Owen. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Hey, Owen, we were waiting for you.
Sorry, guys, I had some visitors to my office.
No problem. No problem. So, all right, now that I think our group's growing a little bit, but it's a little past 1:30, and we know that this half hour always goes really fast. So let's jump right into it. And so thank you guys for coming again. Just want to also thank you guys for the last session. I thought that one went really, really well. Like we had really good conversations, really good participation. So I'm hoping for the same today. Like this idea of learning together is that we all share our experiences and we all chat. We know that not everyone is comfortable talking in a big group or talking through teams. So if you don't want to raise your hand and speak up, the chat is there to ask questions as well. And even a couple of questions can spark a lot of thought and a lot of comments and a lot of sharing from other people. So if you have any questions, please just jump in and ask in whatever way you feel most comfortable. So we're starting our second group of topics now. Our first group was talking about 3 sessions talking about coaching, and now we're moving into preparing for the unexpected. So part of that preparing for the unexpected, we talk about the idea of safe management. So that idea of safe management is simply like the course that we're all kind of going through to learn how to really support people where they're at. All right. And that's how we kind of prepare for the unexpected. We want to support people where they're at. So think of that safe management training as just one of the tools in your toolbox on how you support people through some of those really stressful, really difficult conversations. But preparing people and supporting people where they're at is really about how we set the culture in each of our work locations as well, and how we bring ourselves to work and how we approach people. And that culture setting really helps to support people and help them through those really difficult situations as well. So that's just my little introduction. We're thrilled to have Carly and Owen on the call, who are instructors in safe management, one of the tools that we use to support people where they're at. They're going to give a little bit of information for us as well. Kim's hiding in the background out in the Lake Country, but I know she has lots to chime in as well. So I'm going to turn it over to Carly.
Great. Thank you, Jamie, and thank you to everyone who's made time. I'm not a person who historically is super fantastic at public speaking. I prefer small groups, but I'm going to do my best here. And we're all in a helping profession, so we're all going to be super supportive, just like we would be for our residents. But yeah, this has been a newer thing that we've introduced formally in the last couple years. But the reason that we went with the Safe Management Group, who is a Canadian company based out of Hamilton, Ontario, is because the language and the approach was really in line with the culture and value of Connect and who we want to be as an organization and how we want to show up for people. And we are talking about safe management, but it's really about how do we safely meet people where they're at in a supportive and empathetic and positive way that allows us to feel good about the work we're doing, and them to feel safe about the services that they're being provided. Because human connection is very messy, and it takes some intentional work on how we want to show up for people. So there's a couple of things that I just want to point out and touch on briefly today. This is a very Coles Notes version of some larger training that is available in your sites, and please reach out to your site trainers if you're interested in upcoming learning opportunities. Liz and I have also worked together on a very short introductory video that covers some of these topics a little bit more, but I really want to highlight for everyone, because when you're in it day to day, it can feel like things are happening to you and it can help us get dysregulated, but there is big power imbalance that I think is important to be aware of in our interactions. You know, for all of us, if we have a really bad day and we know that we're not going to be able to show up in the way that we want to, like we'll probably call in sick. We might cancel plans. We might, I stay home. I don't have the bandwidth for this thing today. And that's a choice that I'm able to make for myself. But for a lot of the people we support, they didn't choose the circumstances that landed them with the injury they have, the length of stay in hospital, the long-term struggles, challenges that they have moving forward. They didn't choose the inability not to return to their home living situation. They didn't get to choose which house they live in, although we do our best, you know, to try to arrange people in a way that will complement their personalities and their strengths. They're not on the hiring committee. They don't review every single resume. They don't get to decide who gets that line in their house, and they don't get to decide who's going to cover that shift when their favorite person calls in sick. And now on a very dysregulated day, they don't get to choose who knocks on their door to come and provide that help in a moment where they're already really struggling. It's a very vulnerable position to be in for a lot of people. And I think just being aware of that power imbalance and how do we make people feel empowered, that contributes to overall safety. It's a really important resident first, patient-centered, focused, whatever you want to call it, way of approaching things. But it's important to note, right? Because I think we've all been in a situation in our life where there was a perceived power imbalance. And it's hard to feel safe when you're vulnerable, especially when you're getting to know people. So showing up in a way that offers as much power and autonomy back to a person as possible. You know, when you're short-staffed, let's still give that opportunity to you. Do you want to wear this or this? We're short-staffed. I know you like to get up at 9 a.m. I can do right now at 8:30. If you'd like to sleep in, I can come back at 10. What's going to work best for you today? These are some options. Because I'm asking for a change, and how do we collaboratively approach that together, I think is really important. It's one of the key messages that really hit home for me, because when we're showing up, it's easy to get in autopilot mode and just kind of be go, go, go. Sensory stuff is real for all of us. I think that's another like kind of key concept for me. So, you know, in our course, we always say show of hands, who here has been to Costco? Are you the same person coming out that you were going in? And no one says yes, right? And it's hard, it's overstimulating, it's crowded, it's a lot of different things happening for you. And in a way, it's kind of a great tool to teach some empathy on the reality of navigating challenging, unfamiliar situations where there's a lot of different factors involved, right? When we're asking someone to show up for something that's hard, it's very reasonable that we'll get overstimulated, dysregulated, whatever, and being aware of what's going on for that person and taking the time to be curious and know that person and know what's happening for them will help us be more successful to get through those things. And you know, it's just sensory stuff exists for everyone, no matter how high functioning or perceived low functioning you are. And it's important to remember that us as the caregivers have chosen to show up for people that might be struggling with that, and that's not something that is malicious or is being done to you. It's you showing up in a moment where they're suffering, and you're the person there, and sometimes you'll end up holding a little piece of that. And it's not because you've done anything wrong, it's because you're the person in the room and there's nowhere else for it to go, right? Where yeah, IKEA is awful. We're the hardest on the people we're the closest to, right? If I asked you who are the people you've had the biggest fights with in your life, it wouldn't be that person you saw on the sidewalk. It would be the person you cohabitate with. It would be the person that you work most closely with. You know, like one of my top 3 is Kim in the other room. We're very close friends, and we lived together for a while, and you fall apart where you feel safe, right? So it can be heavy to be in the room where there's these big feelings headed towards you. But if we can work on reframing our thoughts that this is happening to them, and I'm here to support them, and they feel safe enough to fall apart without me, that is a very heavy gift to give to people, but it is a very high level skill that people are doing naturally in this line of work and in the work that we do without even realizing it. So it's just, being aware of how we show up for people, reframing our thoughts. This isn't something that is happening to me at work. This is something that's happening to someone I'm working with. And how do we get through it together as safely as possible is kind of some of my favorite key messages about this. Safe management, preparing for the unexpected, and meeting people where they're at.
Great. Thanks, Carly. That was great. And I was just looking through the chat here, and Kim had asked, how do you improve some power imbalances and what choices do you give people, which you touched on a little. And Patty does not like IKEA. I got to agree with her. But I know when I go to, but if I go to Costco on a Saturday, I know what I'm getting into. So I prepare myself so I can hopefully get through it. And Adam talked about showing your interest in people's thoughts, having the person's support involved in decision making, having some autonomy. So I think we're all on the same page there. And this is really where I think Connect, we're really lucky to be able to work in an environment that we work so hard to make it feel like somebody's home, where they feel like they have autonomy, and we're able to take the time to build those relationships with people. So we know if things aren't going well, we can almost predict it and see it happening. I know for sure life redesign coaches know people better than anyone. And you know if someone's going to be having a bad day, so you can get out in front of it. All right. And I think that's a really big theme that I want to move into now. Owen, are you ready?
I'm ready.
So
Yeah, thank
talking
you.
a
Great
little bit
segue.
about the power of relationships and situational awareness and some stuff like that.
Yeah, thank you very much. And
Yeah.
thank you, Carly, for the Costco example. That's very pertinent for me because I'm going there this evening. So I know I will not be the same person when I'm leaving Costco as I am going into it. And also quickly, just to draw attention to the chat again, I want to say that Adam's point that he made about showing interest in thoughts and the person being involved in the decision and helping reinforce their autonomy almost directly answers a portion of Kim's question as well. So we're really showing more interest in the person, in the individual, and letting them make any decision that might be possible within their day. For a lot of the people that we support at Connect Partners, they are coming from a long-term care-based environment where they have not had full bodily autonomy for some of them for decades. So even just having the ability to choose what time they're getting up in the morning, what they might be having for breakfast or for lunch is already such a major improvement from where they're coming from. And just continuously giving more opportunity for choice in any given day will help create more autonomy for them. So the points that I want to talk about mostly are around situational awareness and relationship building. They tie very closely into what Carly was just speaking about. And when I say relationship building, it's all about the tools that you have in your toolkit at your disposal for the relationships that you form with the people that you support and with your coworkers as well. One advantage of working in a certain environment for X amount of years, like for myself, I've been here for 4 years, and one of the things that's made the biggest difference for me is the relationships that I've built along the way. With those relationships, a lot of them have been when I'm working directly in the homes, back when I was a life redesign coach, as well as when I was working as service resource coach too. And you can find yourself having these really cool one-to-one interactions with the people that we support, where they just feel safe in your presence and they feel comfortable letting you into their lives. And like Harley said, it's a blessing. All of us are fortunate enough to be able to step into these people's lives in a situation that they have not chosen for themselves, and in a situation where they are finding themselves most vulnerable as well. So for us, we are very fortunate to be able to be stepping in on that moment. And if they are in an elevated level of stress or anything that might be going on in their day, to Carly's point as well, we have the ability to remove ourselves from that situation and take a step back and recognize that I'm here, it's part of my job, I'm here to support, but at the end of the day, I get to go home and live out my life as well. Whereas the people that we're supporting, they more often than not did not get to choose to be here. And now that they are here, we are trying to do our best to support them in that moment. So building up on those relationships is really key in supporting you further down the road in case there is anything that might arise. I know for myself, personally, for an example, there's an individual that I've supported since essentially day one when she first moved in, and her and I both developed a very close personal bond together, to the point where when I was working as service resource, if there was ever a time where she was maybe having a bad day or she was having an elevated mood, people would call me directly just to come and sit and chat with her. And it's because of the relationship that I had formed with her early on. And I'm not trying to say that the solution is find a few people who have good relationships with certain people that we support and make sure that they are the ones to go and have those conversations. I think that the most important takeaway for this portion is that all of us have the ability to foster those close personal bonds and relationships. And the only barrier that's standing in the way is our willingness to do so and our comfortability stepping into those shoes as well. So we really have to break down those barriers and make sure that the people that we're supporting feel that close personal bond from us, because if we show them that we are interested in aspects about their lives, then they are much more likely to break down those walls for themselves and kind of let you in as well, because it's a very vulnerable moment to find yourself in. That kind of ties a little bit into what I want to talk about regarding situational awareness as well. So situational awareness is not just you being aware of a room that you're walking into. I would almost argue that more importantly, it is noting what you are feeling in any given moment before you find yourself present in any sort of situation that might be elevated, for lack of a better term. So when I like to think about situational awareness, I really like to tie it closely to mindfulness. And when I think about mindfulness, it's all about rooting yourself in the current moment. So recognizing where you're existing in your space, where your mind is at. Are you finding yourself to be task focused? So you're kind of rooming and or jumping from room to room and really focused on your task. So you're not paying attention to everything around you. I know for myself, when I was first learning this, it hit a particular chord with me because sometimes I can get very in my head and just going room to room, trying to do as many things as I can possible because we're all working on a limited time. But I noticed that after a period of time of doing that, I was really negating the personal relationships that I had formed, because instead of going in there to make that personal connection with somebody and really spend the time to sit and chat, I was too busy focused on trying to get as many things completed as I could. And that's not only doing a disservice to the people that I am then going in to see, but it's also doing a disservice to myself, because then I'm no longer present in the current moment. I'm no longer focusing on forming those relationships. And then I can no longer use that relationship later on to positively benefit both myself and the person that I'm interacting with. So it's really important to, whenever you have the ability to, take a second to pause, check in with yourself. There are a lot of cool mindfulness techniques that you can practice as well. For myself personally, I like to do my finger tapping, just going each finger alternating over to the thumb. It really reminds myself that I'm currently sitting in my physical space. I know where I am, I know where my body is, and I'm trying not to let my mind drift away. Because if I'm not currently in the present moment, then I'm not going to be able to handle anything that might come up, whether it's positive or negative. I'm just reading as well through the comments here. So Carly said, how much of the closeness and connection would be possible without getting uncomfortable moments? Absolutely. That's a really good point. A lot of the time when you're supporting somebody in their most vulnerable moment, it is something that is going to be talked about later on as well. If you were able to show up for a person that you might have not been able to show up for in the past, they're going to remember that difficult time that they went through because they had that experience with you, and that bond and that relationship can form through a lot more trust after that as well. So thank you for bringing that up. For myself personally, I like to keep things quite informal and conversation based. So I don't know if anybody has any specific situations that they might like to talk about, or ways that they've formed a lot of close personal relationships that have served them well later on as well. Kim/Ray, I see you guys have your hand up.
Yeah, I don't necessarily have an example, but more, Carly always has a great saying when we're running some of these trainings is, well, putting more money into the bank than you need to take out. So just think about that relationship you're building and that good rapport. And when somebody's having a bad moment, or you need to ask them to flex what time they want to get up in the morning because the day is going to be busy, you have that good relationship in the background, and they're more willing to be flexible with you and not get so upset. Just think about that too.
That's an excellent point. Thank you. It really ties into me thinking like you have shown them that you're showing up for them in a hard time or in a difficult moment, and then they are able to kind of give you that in return. Thinking about it in a bank is kind of thinking about it transactionally, which some relationships can be, but it is also like you are paying things forward. You are putting in a lot of effort and love and attention into this person in the hopes that that will benefit you later on as well, and also just benefit the strength of your relationship that you've formed too. Thank you for saying that. Do we have anybody else who's curious or has any questions, comments about situational awareness or the strength of relationship building? You can also just pop them into the chat. Yeah, Perfect. Thank you, Christina. To help connect with individuals speaking in a way that's familiar to them. So almost meeting them where they're at in a sense in terms of language as well. If we're coming into a situation and we're speaking a bunch of scientific professional jargon, which isn't necessarily my field anyways, it can make it a little bit difficult to connect with the individual that we're speaking to, unless maybe they have a big scientific background as well. But it really does speak to the nature of meeting somebody where they're at. So understanding the slang that they're familiar with, trying to connect with them on a close and personal level and really break down those barriers. Martha, that's an excellent question. How do you manage, well, or at least spend the time that you want with the people that you're supporting when you do have a lot of different tasks or people that you need to go and see in a given day? And I think all of that comes down to the power of relationships as well. When you have those short little conversations with the people you support and they know that your intention is to come and spend more time with them, they will be more understanding or forgiving of you needing to go away and support other people, because at the end of the day, we're all here to support multiple individuals. If we could all be hired to support everybody one-on-one and there was enough money in the world for that, I'm sure that we would definitely jump at that opportunity. But for us, we do have to be effective in managing our time and also balancing that equally as much as possible between the people that we support. So with your relationships, if you feel comfortable that you've built a strong enough one with the people that you're supporting, just being open and honest with them and saying, you know, it's been really great chatting with you. I do just have to go and support your roommate over here just to get out for the day, but I'd be happy to come and spend some more time with you over coffee and lunch and we can chat a bit longer. Carly, yeah, go ahead.
Piggyback on what Owen's saying there a little bit, because this is one of the realities of supporting people in a group setting, is sometimes your time can be pulled in a few different directions. And if you're finding that you don't have the time that you want to prioritize to have some one-on-one time to build that relationship, then find a purposeful and meaningful way to do that, whether that's organizing an outing, because if it was a medical appointment, we'd make time for it, and making time for people to have the opportunity to exist and build relationships is just as important. Mental health is just as important. Social health is just as important as our physical health. And sometimes the best way to address that is to maybe get out. And if you're having trouble finding that time where you can protect time to have those relationships, have a talk with the resources in your location. Like, hey, I've been really, like, me and Owen for 2 weeks have just been having surface level conversations, and I'm really wanting to prioritize some deeper connection there. How can we make it work with the schedule so that I have some protected time, right? Because that's part of the magic of our staffing model here too, is that we have resources, and we're not 2 to 20 people, we're 2 or 3 to 7 plus everyone else around. So let's find a way that we can show up in the way that we want to for those people.
Thank you, Carly. Go ahead, Scott.
Hey everyone. I mean, I hope this is on topic, but it it resonated with me because like Owen will know the young man I'm talking about when I say this, that he harps on us a lot about communication and how much he values, and his life revolves around good communication and prioritizing and scheduling. And I do think it's a good opportunity to talk about how we communicate staffing and how important staff is to residents, because for them, that good staff member makes the difference in their day. They know the routines, they know the food they like, how they like to be talked to, the activities they want to do, and then having that structure allows them to come more at ease into their day, because it provides them with safety, it provides them with comfort, opposed to new staff. It's a casual, they don't know my routines, I have to build this rapport. Are they going to get me to my appointment? Is this going to be something that puts me beyond my threshold of, their threshold window of like anxiety or stress? So I do think that's it's one that I've definitely learned more working in this environment compared to being in a hospital, where it's a different pressures, different points, where like here, I think that is an under talked about piece of how we work with people, almost, because it's almost very intrinsic. And like once you start talking to people, you realize how huge it is. And actually both the people that Owen are talking about who love him dearly both have that same concern, and that's always something they're talking to us about.
Thank you, Scott. I do think that's very much on topic as well, because it's not only the relationship between us and the people we support, but also between us and the staffing team and how that supports the people we support as well. And making sure, just like you said, that if there's a big staffing change directly in the home, that it could very much impact the person who is living there if they have those close personal bonds with the people who are the consistent employees. And it really speaks to our model as well, trying to build that sort of family dynamic within the home and having people be supported by people that they trust and know and understand and have a good working relationship with. So I think it's always an area that's a room for improvement for us as well, being able to communicate directly to the people living in the homes when there is a major staffing change, so they know that they can plan their day accordingly and understand that it might not be as fluid or seamless when somebody is able to anticipate their needs from knowing them so well versus somebody who might be stepping into the apartment for just a third or fourth shift, working as a casual line. Juliet and Co, I see you guys have your hand up over there.
I just wanted to say, Scott, thank you so much for mentioning that. That you said that the fellow was harping on you guys a lot about communication. It just shows that you are listening. And that to me is the biggest thing, is that you're listening to what that person says and you really digested that and made changes from when, say, you worked in the hospital. And I think that it's one of the biggest things we can do, and why are those little daily observations that we do under the progress notes in PCC, they're so important, because that's your way of listening, like observing and watching what's going on, kind of knowing what happened and being able to just note some things that did happen, or little differences that you notice. Those are the most important things, because then the next person coming on, when they read it, can go, oh, okay. Now, shift change is an important part of that. We're always kind of working on shift change, but it's that general listening and really, really getting to know a person through observing and listening, and then taking that time. We had this wonderful sexual health clinician, Marie, and she's retired now, but she told me that sometimes if you just spend 10 minutes one-to-one with someone, especially someone who gets really agitated and just kind of wears their emotions on their sleeve and can offend you and get really upset, and if you take 10 minutes just to say, during that day, just to say, can we just have that one-on-one, tell me how you're feeling today, what's going on for you today, and just it all be about that one person for just 10 minutes. It makes such a huge difference in someone's day when they just feel really, really heard. So in the busyness of our days, I think it's just really important to remember something like that. Like just give that person your undivided attention for a little while, see how they're doing. And that's how you really, really get to build that, like that Carly was talking about, that trusted relationship. And Owen, you were mentioning that too. So yeah, that's my 2 cents.
Thank you, Juliet. That's a great point. And I think also to one of your earlier points about information gathering and progress notes and everything on PCC, it's a really good point as well about your awareness of the relationship you have with somebody as well as the situation. You can really gather information from a lot of different modalities, whether it's reading online about the individual, checking recent care plan updates, anything that might have happened from the shift before. And all of that will give you a good chunk of information, but you're never going to learn as much as you will with that 10 minutes of undivided attention that you're giving that person in a one-on-one conversation. So thank you for bringing attention to that, because it's really valid. Stephanie just put in a point as well. Yeah, definitely not giving up if there's resistance at the beginning and leaving the door open to try again in the future. You might be having your initial conversation with somebody on a day that is not their best. Maybe they're not open to starting up a new relationship or having somebody else in their lives at that moment, but that determination and that willingness to try again and showing up for a person that might not be willing to show up for you in that moment still shows that initiative and shows your heart and shows how much that you care about that person and fostering a good relationship. So thank you for saying that.
Yeah.
I'm noticing that we're approaching time now,
Yes,
so I guess I'll pass it back over to you, Jamie.
Thank you. And I apologize. I do have to jump out right away to go to another meeting, but if whoever wants to sit back and chat, we can keep the room open if there's still some more questions. So like really want to thank Carly and Owen and Kim, even though Kim was sitting in the background, she was part of our preparation meetings as well to get us ready for this. So thank you guys. And Owen, great job. You took over for me going through the chat, the whole thing. It was awesome. Thanks. And Carly, so much insight as well. And I think for me, I was jotting down a few notes as you guys were talking and like talking about like relationships, situational awareness. And it really all comes down to like, how do we get to know people? How do we build that culture in our building? And the more we build those relationships and build that culture, it's really setting us up to meet people where they're at. And we know there's going to be really hard days. There's going to be situations where we're getting something that we're not expecting to get, and we got to work through that as a team. And we're putting more and more resources in place and getting more tools in your toolbox to help you deal with those. But the foundation of it all is really about meeting people where they're at, understanding people, getting to know them, and it just paves the way to make everyone else work just a little bit smoother. Thank you guys for everyone for participating, and we will have some more information coming out as we do. We'll follow up. I think we have a little video maybe starring Carly we're going to send out for people to see, and some more infographics and stuff like that. So again, the first one of 3 sessions around preparing for the unexpected. I don't have the titles of the other 2 off the top of my head, so I don't want to get them wrong. Alyssa, want to hop in? Give me a hand. Is Alyssa still here?
I don't have it on hand. Candace has her hand up.
I do.
Candace has her
I
hand
do.
up.
All right.
I
Thanks,
totally
Candace.
do. Hello. June 24th, we're going to do an introduction to ethical decision making and harm reduction. So what does that look like at Connect? And then on July 29th, we're going to do a bit of a deeper dive into harm reduction with a real focus on substance use. So those are the 2 coming up.
Excellent. Thank you.
Excellent. Thanks, everyone. You
All right.
literally rock my world.
Thanks so much, Emma. That was awesome.
Good job, everyone.
All right,
Thank
and-
you.
Thank you, everybody.
Oh, Amanda.
Amanda's got her hand up.
Guess some people are leaving. It's okay.
Yeah, some are leaving, but some of us are still here.
We're still
I'm ready to listen.
I just want to say, hey, everyone. I hope everyone's doing well. Sorry, I wrote this down. That's one of my strategies because I have memory problems sometimes. I hope everyone's doing well. I just want to say I'm a current resident here out of Hamilton, Connect and Brendan McIver. And I just wanted to say, well, they're gone now. Thank you to Adam and Prim and Jamie. And all on this call for allowing me to be privy to the conversation and then the call and everything. And sit in on this. I do truly believe that doing calls like this will help me benefit my brain injury knowledge and help me in my recovery process here at Connect Hamilton and help boost my morale also. And then also as a resident, I wanted where he left, I think it was Marco. Or no, you're here. Owen, I want to speak on what you were saying, Owen. As a resident, I having a consistent LRC or staff member who's taking on shift in a certain house. I believe this is very vital and important and beneficial for the residents, such as myself. I mean, because I do believe that my relationship with certain staff and LRCs varies and differs, and it's good with others, and some not the best, right? I don't mesh well the best with. And I just have a good rapport with everyone differently. That's all. Yeah. And so I just wanted to say that. So that was a good point you brought up. Yeah, and like I said, I just want to say thank you for letting me sit in, everyone, on this conversation.
Thank you so
Thank
much for
you.
saying that.
Thank you. That was awesome. Thank you.
Of course.
Okay,
I wish we
thank
could
you,
have had a
guys.
chunk of time with everybody in here to hear you say that, but luckily it's been recorded. So
Yeah.
thank you very much.
Okay,
Yes,
it's
exactly.
recorded. Shots.
Yeah.
You're famous now. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Nice to meet you.
Thank you.
Take care, everybody.
Thanks for coming, everyone.
Thank you, guys.
Have a good day.
Thank you. Bye.